welcome back to Darvanalee Designs Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole and today we are here for our Monday Stitch With Me and a little bit of book chat. So for those that are new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, and don't forget to subscribe while you're here and also hit that thumbs up button down below. That helps me get seen on YouTube. And for those that are returning, that have been coming back for the last couple of weeks for all the book chatting and all the rest of it, thank you so much again for taking some time out of your day. Alright, so we are still in October, so that means that I am stitching on Halloween things, and I am stitching on Barbra Designs Black Cat Hollow. This is part 1. I am, basically doing the first part. I'm doing all of them. There's 3 parts to this one. I've got all 3 parts, and I'm doing them all on the one piece. Some people just do the one piece and turn them into little flat boards and stuff like that. I'm actually stitching it as one thing, and I'm going to turn it into a cushion, and that is what it's going to look like when it's finished. So that's all 3 parts together. So I'm working on part 1, which is the top one up here. Alright, so last time you see me work on this, it was back in last year. I haven't worked on it since then, and I had just done a little bit of the border. So I'm going to continue on with the border this morning, and we are going to talk a little bit about the books that I have read in the past week. So I'll just get that set up so we don't lose that. I am stitching on, I believe it's 32 count linen, and I cannot remember the colour. I think it's just natural, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a natural colour. So as you can see, I have done a little bit of the border. The needle minder today is a lovely gift that I got from the lovely Gail. She is gorgeous. I absolutely love her. I cannot remember exactly where I got it from, but I will be showing these on my Flosstube, and I will have all that info where she got it from. I think it was off Etsy. But anyway, in my Flosstube I will have all the information about where she got it from, and you can see it a little bit more then. Alright, so as you can see, I've already done some of the border. I haven't added too much colour into it. We've got a few colours that will probably go into it today, but I just want to get some more of this border done. What's been happening? Well, lots of things have been happening. I have been busy in the background, sewing and getting ready for videos and all that sort of stuff in the past couple of days. So I am almost ready to start filming the end of our row by row, and I have been reading Up a Storm as well. Our prompt went up on Saturday, and that was, so this week's book is read a book from that was published in 2020, and I am reading, what's it called again? It's on my Kindle, and I didn't bring my Kindle with me. So it is called The Book of Lost Names. So it is set in, it swings from 2005 back to 1942 and the World War II. So it's swinging between the two, and basically I've only just started it, so I've only read about 100 pages. So I haven't done too much reading in it, but at the moment she is escaping war-torn Paris, and she has basically just got to her, like, she's forged some papers and she's got to where she, their first, I'm assuming it's her first stop. So, like, because I mean the book spans quite some time. So far so good. I didn't really want to put it down, so that's always a good indication when you first start a book and you don't want to put down the first 100 pages. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing that off this week. But I have read quite a few books in the past week, and that's what we're going to discuss today. I have read 5 books in total. 5 and a bit if you include the prompt for this week. So other than that, I have been, as I said, I've just been super busy and getting everything that I need to get done. I've got a retreat coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I've been sewing up some project bags. Still don't have as much as I would like to have. Finishing off a few customer orders and all that sort of stuff as well. And my husband's been super busy, but I haven't been going in the truck with him, so that's why I've been at home, and I've been able to read a few books. Now, as I said, a few people are joining in with the bingo challenge, and if you haven't seen that, that is over in our group called DDs Quilting and Crafting Group. So if you head over there, you will find the prompt sheet underneath the files, and basically each Saturday we roll the dice, and whatever number that is what we check off for that week, and that's the book that we read. So yeah, as I said, I've got a few books in this week, and we're going to discuss them a little bit further in just a moment. But yeah, if you are interested in joining in our little reading challenge that we've got, by all means, come over, join the group, and you can get started. We've only had 3 prompts go through so far, but you can join in at any time, doesn't matter. You can always pick out a couple of books from the first couple of prompts, and you can put them aside to read a bit later on. But it'll be going for 12 weeks. As I said, we've just rolled our 3rd week. We're just going into our 3rd week now. And so we've got quite a few left to go. And you can see all the prompts over there. So you can do a little bit of forward planning. I've done a bit of forward planning myself, so I know what the prompts are. I don't know what the roles are as yet, but I do know what the prompts are. So, for instance, one of the prompts is read a book from the year you were born, that was published in the year you were born. Another one, as I said, read a book from 2020, which is this week's prompt. One other prompt was read a book that has been turned into a movie. So that makes it super easy, because just about most of the most popular books have been turned into movies, or even TV series. I also accepted that as well. So yeah, so if that is something that you're interested in, pop on over and join the group, and you can get your prompts there. And as I said, we're on our 3rd prompt, but our 3rd prompt's only just started. That started on Saturday. For myself, I've read the first 2 prompts. I did actually get the books finished. I only finished the 2nd prompt one Saturday afternoon, and on Sunday I started the next prompt. So you don't have to actually start it on the day that it's rolled. If you've only got a few pages left to finish in the week before, by all means finish that book, and yeah, get those books read. All right, so let's get into talking about the books that I read this week.
As I said, I read 5 books this week. Two of them, were part of my October horror classics that I'm reading. So we'll cover a little bit of those. And then there's the bingo challenge one that I read, and there's also my 2 series that I'm reading. So the Jessica Hunt series, which is a psychological thriller, and also the Virgin River series. I read another one in that series. So both of those series are actually being listened to. They are audiobooks, basically because there's so many in the series. I doubt whether I'd be able to find them all in the bookshops, and also the fact that we don't have a bookshop here in Kingaroy. We've only got Big W. So they don't have any. I think they only had the first book. And it was the same as the Bridgerton series. They didn't have that for ages. I got the first book and that was it. And then the second book came in, and now subsequently they've got all the books there except for the last one. But it's just too hit and miss. So a lot of these series I've been actually listening to on audiobook because I have Scribe and Audible, as you all know. Now, all the books that I've read in the past week will be listed down below. They will be listed as an audiobook or a Kindle book or a physical book. It'll just depend on what I can find for you. But maybe consider using my links down there, because I get a small percentage of the sale, and that all helps to keep building my channel and also help me get some new books to read and stuff like that on Kindle. All right, so some of the sales from those things, which some people have been buying the books, so thank you to those that have been. I really do appreciate that. That a lot of that money is actually going back into the channel, so i.e. to buy books or stuff like that. All right, so, and it's not a great deal either. Like, I don't get hundreds of dollars or anything like that. You know, it's a couple of cents from each sale. So it all adds up at the end of the day. And so if you are considering buying a book from either Kindle, audio, or a physical book, please consider using my affiliate links down below. And those links down below will actually be available for both Australian, US, and UK, Europe, and all that sort of stuff. So basically what will happen is you'll click on it, and if you're happen to, sometimes it'll be the US link, sometimes it'll be the Australian link. It just depends where it's available, where I can find it. If that's the case, it is the American link, which 9 times out of 10 it is. It will flick you to Australia Kindle. If you're here in Australia, and I believe it will also do the same thing in the UK as well. I don't know about Europe because I haven't got too many people that subscribe to my channel from Europe, or have bought from those links. But please do consider using my link. If you click on the link and then you buy something from Australia Amazon, I still get a little percentage of that. So again, I really do appreciate for all those people that have purchased. It's all going a long way. So thank you very much. All right, so as I said, I have read 2 off my horror to be read for October. This month I am actually reading classic horrors. How I found out which ones were classic was I just done a Google search. I basically put into Google classic horror stories or books, I think I put in there, and a big list came up. I think there was about 100 in total, maybe a little bit less, and I judged the books by their cover and their names. So that's how I got them. So far I have read The Shining and Carrie, and I'm halfway through reading Ring, which is by Koji Suzuki. That is on Kindle, so I couldn't get that on audio. The other ones I got on audio. So this week's first one that I listened to this on Monday. It was a very short book. It only had 182 pages. It was published by Shirley Jackson, and it was published in 1959, and the genre is horror. And as I said, I listened to this on audio. So it is called The Haunting of Hill House. Now, I didn't think I knew this book. In fact, I still say that I didn't know this book when I started reading it. However, as I was reading it, I'm going, have I seen a movie like this? And like it was playing on my mind. The story seemed very familiar. Now, I did no research into these books before getting them or anything like that. These were just books. I liked the look of the cover. I liked the sound of the title. And I didn't even read the blurb. So that's basically how I picked them. So in saying that, I'm reading away and I'm thinking to myself, I think I have actually seen a movie. Like I kept getting these images coming to mind. Anyway, as it turns out, after I read the book, listened to the book, I listened to it last Monday, so a week back from today, and basically I'm listening away and all the rest of it. When I finished listening to the book, which got me through the day, I went and done some research, and there is actually a Netflix series. This shows you how much TV I watch. There is a Netflix series, although it looks a little bit different than how the book was. But a little bit further research, the movie The Haunting, which had Catherine Zeta-Jones in it, and I can't remember the other guy, Liam Neeson, I think his name is. He was in it. So yeah, that was back whenever that was in the 90s or the early 2000s or whatever. I watched that movie. But it just had The Haunting. It wasn't The Haunting of Hill House, but the premise was there. So it was based off that book. So that's why it seemed so familiar to me when I was reading it. So if you've seen those movies, you obviously know what the book is about. Although I must say, that The Haunting movie was quite suspenseful. I didn't find that to be a horror as such. I found that to be more like a thriller, like a suspenseful thriller with a touch of horror, like some stuff went down. But the book, I found that to be more a suspense as opposed to a horror. I guess my definition of horror is more blood and guts. I guess that's gore is more what I class as a horror. So if there's a lot of descriptive gore and stuff in a book, that to me is a horror book. Something that's like a ghost story or things that go bump in the night or, things like the house might come alive or whatever. I find them more suspenseful thriller. So that is my feeling on this genre. So while other people won't agree with me, and that is fine, okay, that's how I feel about it. So for me, I can read this stuff until the cows come home. It's just things that go bump in the night and all that sort of stuff. But anything that is gore and horror and like has blood and guts and all that sort of stuff, that to me is a horror movie. Okay, because like it's horrific. It's horrific to read, it's horrific to watch. So this one here, basically, yeah, I ended up knowing the story. So it's just about a group of people that go to a house. There's a doctor involved. He's doing like experiments about things that go bump in the night, basically. That's what he does. And the main character is Eleanor, and she basically had been excuse me, she basically, it just follows her driving there and all the rest of it. So she is the main character of it, and basically she becomes sort of obsessed with the bump in the night and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I don't want to give away any spoilers in case you haven't seen it or anything like that. This house has a bit of a backstory. There was a guy that built it, and his two daughters had it, and then one of the daughters got basically pushed aside. They had a falling out, and the daughter that stayed at the sister that stayed at the house, she had a helper in when she passed. The helper inherited it, so this other family has now owned this house for the last, I think it was 80 years. So basically what happened then is the doctor had contacted this family. He wanted to do these, like a social experiment, so to speak, so like how people get affected by things that go bump in the night and all the rest of it. Now, no one knew anything about the house. The doctor just randomly wrote to these people, and subsequently 4 people, I think it was 4, I didn't take that note down. I think 4 people responded. 2 ended up dropping out. 2 ended up going. So Eleonora, which is the main character, I mean, they're all really main characters, but it sort of focuses on her a bit more. And Theodora turned up, and then there was Luke, who is actually a member of the family, because part of the condition of him renting it, the doctor renting it, is that a member of the family had to be there as well. So basically, Luke is going to inherit this house, and then we've got the other 2 female characters and the doctor, and then there's the caretakers that are there, and they don't stay there. They are only there during the day, and the people of the nearby town, basically don't like having anything to do with the house because of it's just a creepy house, basically. Yeah, so basically it just follows the story. I mean, it wasn't a great book. It was easy to listen to, and basically I got a lot of work done that day because I just had the book in, and that just because I've been using the audiobooks as productivity. And yeah, so basically yada yada yada, things go bump in the night, and I don't want to give the ending away, but it was okay. It wasn't a bad book. But then after I listened to the book and I'd done my research, I went and watched the trailer. Oh my God, the trailer is hell scary. The book wasn't that scary, but the trailer was hell scary. So I don't know whether I'll be able to watch it with Brendan being here at night and stuff like that. So I might have to sneak it in during the day when he's not here, because I'm actually curious. But it looks like it's actually taking a different take than what the book was. So and what the haunting was. So it'll be interesting to watch it and do the comparisons and all the rest of it. So I gave the book a 3-star because, it was just an average book to me. How it ended, it was, yeah, it just sort of, it ended, but it sort of ended as, yeah. I don't want to give away too much. I can't say too much without giving away the ending. But you can find it on Audible. You can also find it on Kindle. I actually got this. I actually purchased this book through Kindle first off, and it ended up having the Audible attached to it, and so I think that was an extra $5 or something Australian. So it was $3 something American. But if you haven't read it, it's well worth a read. You can knock it over in a day. So we've got a bingo challenge where I read a book in a day. You could probably do this one. I did enjoy it. I was engrossed in the story. Like, it did pull me in, and the story was told really well. There was a lot of sitting around and chit-chatting and being obsessed with keeping the doors open in the beginning of because all the doors kept closing. And then there was a bit of an explanation why you couldn't see certain things in the house, and when you like how you got disorientated in the house, it was because of the way it was built and stuff like that. So yeah, like it was a good book to pull you in. I would call it a ghost story more than a horror book. Suspense thriller, but it is actually on the classic horror. And that's only because of my own take. Now, I've got friends that can't read these sort of books because it scares the bejesus out of them. And that's okay because, everybody has different tastes. But I enjoyed it. I think you would enjoy it too. As I said, I did only give it 3 stars, but that's because I'm marking it pretty harshly. Anyway. All right, so that was that one. I'm pretty, read it. It's not going to take much time, even if you only listen to it. And as I said, it's only got, 182 pages in it. So you could probably knock it over in a day. It wouldn't take you that long to read it, especially if you're a fast reader. If I was reading that as the Kindle, I probably would have read that at a slow pace in a day and a half, and read it definitely in a day if I just sat down and had nothing else to do. But let's face it, I'm a busy person and I have lots to do like the rest of us. All right, the next one that I read was and during the week I was also reading a Kindle book. Which was the prompt for the bingo. So I'm just going to cover the audiobooks that I read this week first, and then I'll come back to that one because I have a lot to say about that one. All right, so Perfect Smile, Jessica Hunt series by the author is Blake Pierce. These books only have about 200 pages. This one had 204. The genre is a suspenseful psychological thriller, is all the categories that it falls into. I started this on Tuesday, finished it on Tuesday. As I said, they are only short books, and it was book 4 in the series. So this was on audio, and it was published in 2019, October. All right, so we pick up the story of Jessica Hunt. Now, she is for those that are new here, this story is about a criminal profiler, and she focuses on serial killers. She does this because her father is a serial killer. So we pick up where we left off. Basically, in the last series, in the last book, they had escaped, and some prisoners had escaped, and she is now in witness protection. Well, has a detail anyway. She's not full on in witness protection, but she has a detail that are following her, and the story plays out. So there was a huge twist in this one, which was great. The story really does have me sucked in. While it is not an absolute fabulous, rocky to the core story, it is an easy read. It is great if you're looking for something that is going to keep you engaged, because it will keep you engaged. But yeah, as I said, the audiobooks I've been using for productivity and all during the day while I'm working, and I'm finding them really useful for that. So this, having a series where it's just a continuing story where I can just listen to a book a week or 2 books a week is really good. And I'm really liking her, like she's starting to see her flaws as a criminal profiler and how she jumps the gun a little bit and all that sort of stuff. Now, I don't want to give away too many spoilers or anything like that, but there are twists and turns, and I'm finding myself, I'm relieved because that twist has happened, but then it twists again, and it's like, damn it, I'm back on edge. Like I'm actually starting to get very absorbed into the story. Now, in book 3, I was starting to think maybe this is going to be a little bit predictable, and there is still some predictability in it. This is a nice, clean little psychological thriller, but for the most part, I'm actually really enjoying it. I am getting sucked into the story. I'm trying not to continually read the books every day because I can fall down that rabbit hole. I'm just trying to do one a week to stretch it out a little bit. Now, I have been getting these on both Audible and also Scribe. I have just been putting the links up to Audible because I know that they're readily available in everybody's country. So, and not all of them are available on Scribe. So, and that's the same as the Virgin River series as well. Some I can find on Scribe, some aren't available in my country. So I have just been putting down the links down below for the physical books and now for the audio books as well. So they're available all on Audible. All right, so she's really starting to see that she's making mistakes, and there's all these little subplots going on. Like there's always a murder that she's investigating and stuff like that, but she's got all this other stuff going on in the background in her personal life and all that sort of stuff as well. So it is developing. It is her character is slowly developing. She's now starting to see her flaws. And all of that sort of stuff, which she was sort of from the beginning anyway, but it's sort of becoming more pronounced now. Like she's actually starting to question her abilities and stuff like that, which, as you know, you do that in real life anyway. Like in anything that you do when you start something new, you do end up questioning yourself at some point. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being the best that I can be? And all that sort of stuff. So she's doing that sort of thing as well. And I like the fact that she's a young girl and she's just starting in her career. So, as I said, there is a little bit of predictability, but you know what? Sometimes that's just nice when you don't have to fully concentrate on a world being built or, 50 characters in a book. I mean, I know that not all books have 50 characters, but do you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit of an over exaggeration, but that's what it's just nice to be able to read a book or listen to a book that's not a hard book to get into, and that's what this is. And I'm really rapt that I accidentally come across this series because it's a nice balance with the other series that I'm reading, which is romance, small town sort of thing. So it's a nice balance, I think. So I gave this one a 4 stars because it is sucking me in. I'm not marking this one too harsh, but yeah, I am enjoying it, and I think you will too. So if you have started this series, leave me a comment down below and tell me what you're thinking of it. If you haven't, I believe that the first book is actually free on Kindle, and if you've got Kindle Unlimited, I think it was part of that as well. Don't quote me on that last one, but a couple of subscribers have actually got it for nothing and have read it, I believe. All right, just needed a sip of coffee. All right, the next one that I'm going to talk about is the Virgin River one. Okay, so we are up to... that was book 4 that I just spoke about. I don't know whether I said that. Okay, so we are up to book 10 in the Virgin River series. The author is Robin Carr, and this one is actually called Moonlight Road. 409 pages, published in 2010, and I actually listened to this on audio. This one I listened to through Audible, so the link will be down below there, and it is romance, small town life. Okay, so basically, like all of the books, I'm loving them. I love the series. I just love how it's just a continuing story. It's a very easy read, enjoyable read. Excuse me. I find myself giggling at certain things that happen in the book and stuff like that. So my neighbours probably think I'm slightly crazy because they know I'm home by myself. So they can't hear anything else going on. They can't hear any other talking because it's in my ear. I just have an earpiece in. And I just get on with my day, and I have the earpiece in because I listen to it through my phone, and that way I can hear if the phone's ringing or anything like that. It tells me that's going on. All right, so so it basically is, we're following some of the main characters that have been throughout the series, and each book brings in a couple of new characters and all the rest of it. Now, if you remember back when I started reading this, I couldn't read book 4 because it wasn't available anywhere. I couldn't get it on Kindle. I could get it on Kindle, but I didn't have time when I started reading it to sit down and read it. So I had a lot of work on and all the rest of it. So I couldn't get it on Audible. And then basically I looked at a lot of reviews and everything over on Goodreads, and a lot of people said that it didn't need to be read as part of the series. It was a Christmas one, I think it was. And so I just skipped it, and basically book 3 and book 5 continued on from each other. So it was very much a standalone book. But I am going to go back. I don't know whether I'm actually going to go back and read it because they pretty much explained what happened in this book. So it picks up the story on one of the brothers that have been in Aiden. What's his last name? Did I write it down? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm terrible for this. Oh, yes. Yes, I did. So Aidan Royden is another brother. Now, he's related to Luke and Sean, who we've discussed in the last couple. So he is the middle child out of the 5 brothers. And basically, all these brothers are just like adverse to marriage and all the rest of it. Okay, so 2 have been knocked off and they're not knocked off and killed, but they've actually married. So they've got wives that are expecting and all that sort of stuff now. Or the last story was Sean actually met up with a old lover and they're off doing the thing. He's getting moved around the country. He hasn't settled in, although they're still in Virgin River, they're not settling in Virgin River. So Aiden he's pretty much retired from the Navy. He was in the Navy, so another military man. Okay, this seems to be very much a signature thing of this Virgin River. There's a lot. All these men are either in the military, whether it be Air Force, Navy, or Marines, Army, all that sort of stuff, or they've just retired out of it, or they're still active duty. So that seems to be a bit of a theme throughout. Okay, so basically he is 36 years old. He's just retired from the Navy, and he is spending the summer. He doesn't know that he's going to be settling in Virgin River or not, but he's spending the summer there with his family because his brothers are there, and his mother's coming there and all the rest of it. And there's the birth. He's a gynecologist or OB, whatever they call him. Anyway. He's a baby doctor. He helps deliver babies. It is too early in the morning to get those words out. But anyway, so he's retired. And he's doing a lot of hiking. And anyway, subsequently, he's hiking through the bush and he comes across this cabin, scares the bejesus out of this woman. This woman is a workaholic. Her name is Erin. She made an appearance in book 4. Okay, there is a couple other characters. Another character, her sister, Marcy, who was in book 4. So I didn't even know about these characters. They have not been mentioned in any of the books. Even in book 5, they were not mentioned, and subsequently right up until book 10. And so now Marcy is still only a sub-character. Erin is the workaholic, and she has taken care of her family because her parents died young when she was younger, and she has been very responsible for them. She is a partner of her law firm, and she is very much a responsible workaholic. Anyway, he scares the bejesus out of her. He's a hairy dude, comes out of the bush, has a machete and a bow and arrow and all this sort of stuff as he's hiking, scares the bejesus out, knocks her out, and then their story starts. Okay, so that is the rundown of it. But in this, as always, there are all little subplots going on. So Luke, who is Aiden's brother, he has a young man that when in the book with him has Down syndrome, and so he has stayed with him on looking after the cabins because Luke has I think 4 cabins that he rents out to tourists and stuff like that. And he actually goes shopping with Luke and meets up with an old friend who he calls a girlfriend from the group home that Luke rescued him from. And then Luke and Shelby are expecting their first child. Mel and Jack are still in the story as well. So Mel and Jack they were the first 2 characters that we were introduced to in the series, and they were in book 1. So Mel is a midwife / medical nurse that has stayed on and subsequently married Jack, who is an retired military man, and he owns the local bar with Preacher. So basically, so they have a disagreement about adding to their family and all that sort of stuff. And as I said, Erin's sister Marcy is in it. She also has a brother, but he's off becoming a doctor of some sort and all the rest of it. So he's not. He's only mentioned a couple of times in the book. just as being away. So there's nothing really happening with him. But Aaron's sister, Marcy, is also expecting. Aiden's mother is also in this one, and she was in the last book, and she had met the preacher Noah's friend, George, I think his name is. And, so basically she is packed up everything, and so this is a bit of a subplot going through the book as well. She's packed up everything to go and travel with him. And then we've got Sean and Franny. They are from the last book, and they are about getting ready to move off because he's getting reassigned and all the rest of it. So the subjects that were covered in this book was, which I haven't done this with the other books, and I thought I'd do it with this one because I found it quite interesting. So it actually covers miscarriage, adoption, surrogacy, menopause, relationships for the mentally challenged people that we may know in our lives. So it actually covered some pretty heavy topics in that. It's only touched on them. It didn't go in depth, but there was one couple that, had suffered 7 miscarriages, and so now they were looking to adopt, and then there was also the options of surrogacy and all that, and sort of how that worked, and but as I said, not in depth or anything like that, but enough to just touch on it. Now, miscarriage is always quite a triggering topic for a lot of women. I myself have suffered several miscarriages and whatnot. While I'm okay, and I don't get up, and I know this might sound cold to people, I don't get overly emotional about that, but it was still not great. It was still heart-wrenching where it happened, and I know these things happen for a reason, but sometimes that thing, when people say that to you, just doesn't fly, and I understand that for a lot of people. And if you have suffered a miscarriage, I'm so sorry, and if you're struggling, go and get help. Seriously, just go and talk to someone. It does help. I was lucky enough to have several girlfriends around me at the time that really did help me through that and help me understand that it wasn't the be all and end all, and that while it was very hard and excruciating pain and all the rest of it, it was okay. I was going to get through it, and you will be okay too if you have suffered that. But if you haven't got someone to talk to, please go and talk to someone. And you know what? Also check on your husband, because your husband might be really quiet and he might not say anything, and he might think that he doesn't care, but he cares. Okay, he does care. He just doesn't know how to express it. And I know that I didn't know that at the time with my partner. I'm subsequently not with that partner anymore, but Brendan and his fiance, basically they experienced the same thing, and it affected him more than he realised, and it wasn't until years later that he realised that it did actually affect him, and subsequently their relationship broke down because of it, and all the rest. I mean, great for me, but not so great for them, like that. I know that sounds terrible, but if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have ended up with the love of my life. But, it was a hard road for him to work out that it was a hard road. He didn't realise at the time, and all the rest of it, being young and whatnot. But, don't think that they don't care, because they do. They just don't know how to express it. So, so if you are triggered by that sort of stuff, just know that you probably will cry in this book. Okay, it probably will stir up some feelings in this book. But I really did like the story, and I loved all the sub-stories, and they were the subplots. So, there's also, it touches on cesarean sections and difficult births and stuff like that. Very mildly touches on them and stuff like that. So they are great books, and I do enjoy them for that reason, because they do touch on topics that people are going through or have gone through, so which is really good. So it feels a little bit more like, you're being a bit of a voyeur on and watching all these people's lives play out. Like the town gossip, you're watching every move that people make and all the rest of it. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Again, I read this in a day. And I just power through these. But, I am going to be a little bit disappointed when this series finishes because I've invested a fair chunk of time into these books, listening to them and all the rest of it. I often say that, I'm just listening to Audible and the books that I thoroughly enjoy, I might go and actually purchase them and put them onto my bookshelf. I'm actually considering going and buying this series to have on the bookshelf just so I can pick it up again and actually sit down and physically read it when I've got a little bit more time and all the rest of it. Because, audiobooks are great. And I do and I'm fairly new to them, and I know that I seem to go on about them and all the rest of it. And that's probably because I'm really new to them, and it's giving me an opportunity to read more, to be invested in stories and all the rest of it. And really, I get a lot of people saying, oh, I can't listen to audiobooks. They just don't do it for me, yada, yada, yada. They're no different than a podcast. You're getting involved. To me, they're no different than a podcast. Like a podcast, someone's talking at you, or audiobook, someone's talking at you. So it's no different. It's just that you're a little bit more invested and all the rest of it. And I've touched on this before. If you struggle to listen to audiobooks because you find them boring or you're drifting off, then there's a couple of things going on here. One, the audiobook might not be for you on that. Two, just speed it up a little bit and bring it up to what you're used to reading. If it feels like it's running out, speed it up a little bit. Just go 20, an extra 1.2 and see if that works for you. You might have to go up to 1.5. In some cases, I go up to 2, I double it, because the audiobooks are read slower than what people actually read. I read really fast, so I speed my books up so I can keep up. Now, when you turn that book on, the next day, say you're listening to a long book, you've listened to it and it sounds normal to you. The next morning when you turn on, that first couple of seconds will be, it'll sound a little bit funny, but your brain will catch up. I promise you, it will catch up and you will thoroughly enjoy it. And this is the only way that I've been able to enjoy audiobooks. All right, so that was Moonlight Road. It was a nice little neat story. Loved all the subplots, loved all the topics that were covered in it. A lot of it was very that it will be triggering, so just be careful if you are going to be triggered by that. All right, the next book, then I went from that and I went to the next book, which was The Woman in Black. Okay, so this is a short story. It is the author is Susan Hill. It was published in 1983. I listened to this on Audible. It is off the classic horror series. Listen to it in 2 hours. 2.5 hours or something, pretty much. Yeah, didn't take long at all. It is a classic ghost story. So basically it starts off, there's a family and they're having Christmas, and there's a couple of kids and they all gather around the fire to talk about ghost stories and stuff like that. And then it goes on to the main character, which is the guy in it, and I've forgotten his name. It wasn't a very memorable book, as you can tell, because I've already forgotten the main character's name. Anyway, basically, it is a ghost story. It is about he's a lawyer. He's got to go and settle up an estate, and he ends up at this place on the marshes. You can only get there at low tide and stuff like that. I'm assuming that's what they were talking about, low tide. The waters are ebbing and flowing and all the rest of it, and he gets taken there. And then there's things that go bump in the night. And he first of all goes to a funeral, and he sees this woman in black looking very drawn and she's in black, but it's not of that era in the clothing that she's wearing and all the rest of it. Subsequently, she turns out to be a ghost. And he tells the story. Now, this story, the way it was told and the guy that read the story, oh my God, it sucked you in, fully sucked you in. Sorry, I just needed to have a drink of coffee then. Fully sucked you in, and you really got, he was talking with urgency, he really pulled you in. It was a great ghost story. And if it had been told around a campfire and in the middle of the night and the torch under the chin and all the rest of it, great story. Quick read, absolutely loved it. Basically bump in the night sort of thing, and yeah, I don't want to give too much away. If you haven't listened to it or you haven't read it, as I said, 138 pages, knock it over in an afternoon. Give it a read. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah. I don't know really what much more I can say about it. It was just, it started, like every now and again I felt the hairs on on the back of my neck go up and all that sort of stuff. I did really enjoy it, and it really did suck me in. It was a brilliant ghost story. It's not a horror story. No, nowhere near a horror story. Not even close to it. It's just a ghost story. So I was a little bit disappointed that this was on the classic horror, but I can sort of see why it was. But it is definitely a ghost story, and if you like that sort of thing, you'll love it. If you don't, well, then you won't. Yeah, so, and as I said, it's a very, very quick read, 138 pages, knocked it over in an afternoon. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I give it a 4 stars, though, because it did provoke a reaction, like a physical reaction, listening to it. And if a story can get you to either cry or make the hair stand up on you, you know that the writer has done a good job. And that's what I will say there. The writer did a fabulous job because the hairs stood up. I was engrossed. I felt like I was there. It was so descriptive, like down to the weather, the birds and everything. It was just so descriptive, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I've given it 4 stars out of 5. All right, so the next one that was book 4. The next one that I read, now I read this on and off during the week, and this is why I haven't finished The Ring yet. So Apples Never Fall. This was a prompt from our bingo challenge. It is by Leanne Moriarty. Okay, I think I briefly touched on it. It's following the story of a tennis family, and so this is adult fiction mystery, family mystery. It was published in September of 2021, so it is very, very new. It is only available on Kindle at this point. I don't think it gets released on Audible until the end of October, mid-November. So, excuse me. I just read this a little bit each day. So this was my morning and evening read. And basically, it's the first time I've ever read any of her books. So anybody that knows who she is knows that there's a couple of series out on Netflix. One is 9 Perfect Strangers, and the other one is Little Lies, I think. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, basically, I started reading it. I didn't know anything about this author. Then I realised she's an Australian author. So that was good, which I am lacking in this area. So I was pretty excited that it turned out to be an Australian author. So I haven't read too many Australian authors, and I'm trying to read more of them. So she has now become one of my to read more of. Okay, the story basically follows this family. They had the Delaney's. There are 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys. There's a mother and the father. And it basically, now I can't really talk about this without giving too much away. So I'm not going to do any spoilers, but the basis of the story is a stranger turns up on their doorstep one night. She says that she's abused and all the rest of it. They take her in, which was really strange in my eyes. Like, get the hell out of my house after you fixed her. So she basically is taken in by the family, subsequently worms her way in, becomes an part of the family. Everybody meet her, like they're all going, who is this person? Rada, rada, rada. Then one day, they sort of, you're getting to know this girl and all the rest of it. And then one day, she causes a bit of trouble. They kick her out, and then and then it goes that this is like the end of 1 year, and then the following February. I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, so if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, it's because I'm trying to skip over bits that I know that it will spoil it. Anyway, she gets gone, and then there's a huge fight between the husband and the wife goes missing. And then basically the story goes from back at Valentine's Day to the present day, back to Valentine's Day to the present day. And it's following the investigation of trying to find out what happened to the mother and this girl. She's just disappeared. No one knows where she is, and all the rest of it. And you know, the way the story started, like I automatically think that she like something serious has happened, and basically it takes you on that roller coaster ride of the police investigation and what each individual person is thinking. It's also bringing in little bits and pieces about each of the children and all the rest of it, so you get to know them as a person, and it's just awesome. Just awesome. Like, it just had me in. I just kept turning page after page, and I'm thinking, I've got to put this book down. I found myself sitting up till 1:00 in the morning, like I'd go to bed at 10:30 or something. I'd start reading, then the next thing I know, I'd look at the bloody clock and it'd be 1:00 in the morning. I did that twice. I had to stop doing that because I wasn't going to get any work done the next day. I have rated this a 5-star because I absolutely love the story. I think that if you haven't read anything of hers, you'll love it. If you have read stuff of hers, you'll love it. I just think it was an absolutely fabulous story. The way everything was integrated, how they put everything together, how she brought everything together in the end. It was, and the way it ended, the last page of the book was freaking brilliant. Just loved it. So, it just sort of, yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that, but yeah, I just really love the way it ended. If you haven't read it, get it. I'll leave a link down below where you can get it from. And I'm telling you now, you're going to enjoy it. I absolutely loved it, and I'm super looking forward to reading some more of her books, but just not yet because I've got a ton of books to read. So that is all the books that I've read this week. I hope you like my take on them. As I said, that one is a 5-star, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I have enjoyed reading all the books this week.
All right, that's it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video today and the talking about all the books and everything. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you're reading at the moment, and if you're joining along with the bingo challenge over in DD's Quilting and Crafty group. As always, don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below, and if you have yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and then that way you won't miss out on any future posts. Again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me, and I will see you all again next time. Stay safe, everybody, and bye for now. Bye.